What in tarnation?
I meant to do that.
Howdy folks, this is Applegeek, and I am back with My Little Pony Season 9, Episode 10. I am actually watching this one a little early. Episode 9 is not quite done yet and ready to upload, but my friends have been hyping me like crazy on this episode, and given that these were early releases and whatnot, and there's spoilers everywhere, they were scared to death of me getting spoiled. That can only lead me to believe that there's going to be some kind of crazy bombshells going on in this episode. And, of course, being me, I have to think, Apple Family? If so, this is going to be, I think, probably quite interesting. So, maybe Big Mac and Sugar Bell or something? We'll see. But yeah, I haven't heard nothing about this one. I've seen nothing, heard absolutely nothing. I'm clueless. So, without further ado, let's give this a watch. Episode 10, starting now. Apples. Which apples? What's happening? Oh, hey, Winona. Haven't seen her in a while.
I know we've had this day marked on the calendar.
Big Mac, what?
But it's finally here.
Yep.
Sure is. What?
Confluence. A harvest 100 moons in the making. When every apple comes ripe at the same time. Big Mac's been up late working on this schedule so we can be sure not to miss a single tree. All it'll take now is a few days of hard work. Who's with me?
And he's asleep. Oh.
That looks like a lot of work.
I want some blueberry pancakes now.
Don't you worry, Chickabiddy. We got this confluence under control. I got us some help.
Sugar Bell?
Great, Granny. Twilight and the others are too busy at the school to lend a hoof. We could sure use some more muscle. Who'd you get? Rayburn? Honeycrisp?
It's gotta be.
Even better.
Please. Please. What? Oh! Okay! Goldie Delicious! Not what I expected! Ah! Ouch!
That's how you wake a pony up.
Delicious.
Granny
Aw.
told me I could use a helping hoof with this here confluence, so I came a-running.
Well, with a harvest this big, we're grateful for all the help we can get. I guess.
Yup. That's too bad y'all ain't ever caught the Great Seedling. He'd granted you a perpetual harvest, confluence or no.
The Great Seedling? Well, now, I haven't thought about that old mare's tail for years.
Is this like the Great Pumpkin?
The Great Seedling ain't no mare's tail.
Oh no.
Magical earth.
Flashback?
All the colors of the harvest that travels from farm to farm.
Are we finally doing the deerish?
Ponies to catch 'em. And those that have the
Oh.
ingenuity
Oh
are
my.
rewarded with crops that are always in bloom. And he's as real as you and me.
That's my...
Recall. Apple Bloom used to love setting traps for the Great Seedling when she was a youngin'.
It's the Great Pumpkin.
Well, I'm pretty sure she's outgrown the whole thing by now.
Nope.
Right, Apple Bloom?
Nope.
Or maybe I'm big enough now to finally catch him. Come with me.
Okay. Like I said, I knew nothing about this, so clearly nothing to do with the Sugar Bell, but where's this going? Already, even if that character isn't actually real, that I expect all the fan art from this. I have seen nothing thus far because I've been living in a cave. Well then, I think this is going to be a rather unique Apple Family episode.
Apple Bloom, you haven't hunted for the Great Seedling since you were little. Why would you want to start again now?
The confluence is so big. He's bound to show up.
These faces!
Catch him, he'll make all the apples ripe.
Going
all
to
the
seed.
time. Right, Goldie?
That's right, young fella.
Don't encourage her.
Oh, just imagine, sweet apple Lakers would be the busiest orchard in Equestria. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got work to do.
Wow.
Don't forget we have actual work to do, too.
Nothing like a little filly enjoying the harvest.
I don't mind Apple Bloom having fun, but there's honest-to-goodness work to do that doesn't have a thing to do with an old legend.
Oh, quit worrying, Sugar Booger. Apple Bloom can hunt for the seedling all she wants. If you're so fretified about work, why don't you and your brother get to bucking your own selves?
Yeah.
Granny's right.
Poor Big Mac needs a day off
Come on,
here.
sleepyhead. Let's get to work.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh. Oh. He did list some help. Oh. Oh. What? That's gonna be a GIF. I'm certain of it.
Two of them, it would have been a pair of pairs.
What is gonna happen here? Oh.
As much as I appreciate her volunteering, I'm not sure how much help Goldie's gonna be.
Oh, now that reminds me of the time Dottie, well, that's my cheetah, you understand, she found out where I keep the catnip. Oh.
Is that the first time we've actually seen Granny Smith buck some
Granny's
apples?
spinning yarns, but it looks like the harvesting's up to us. You're gonna have to redo that schedule.
Oh.
Yep.
And as much as I'd rather Apple Bloom were helping, I guess there's no harm in her hunting the Great Seedling for a day, right? Big Mac!
Oh.
Aw, you ain't the Great Seedling.
She was just over there. She's quick.
We fell behind a bit yesterday, so we need every pony at their best.
Yeah, this isn't gonna end. Oh.
If that's your brother's best, we might be done for
Those cats.
He was just up late working out a new schedule so we can stay on track.
I didn't sleep either. I was too excited. I can't wait to see if I caught the Great Seedling.
Big Mac needs some of her
ready to
energy.
cheer Apple Bloom up when her traps come up empty.
Every pony, come quick. You gotta see.
Okay, what did she catch?
What in blazes is all the excitement about?
Look. The Great Seedling did this, didn't he?
Well,
Okay.
great. I mean, this sure looked like Great Seedling tracks to
Did
me.
Goldie Delicious do that?
I knew it. He was here. The Great
I'm gonna say we've got
Seedling was
crop
here.
circles in Equestria now.
Applejack.
Or apple circles? Huh?
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I smell a rat here.
Isn't it beautiful? I just can't believe the Great Seedling was really here.
Neither can I.
What do you think this means?
Not much.
Well, it looks to me like a challenge. The seedling wants you to know that he was here, and he's daring you to catch him.
Aw.
You think I still have a chance? You're an apple, ain't you?
Why,
All of these
if you set
faces.
enough traps, you're bound to catch him.
You're right. And that's just what I'm gonna do. Look out, Great Seedling. Here I come.
Michelle Grieber really had fun with this one, I can
Nothing
tell.
like that.
Nothing like what?
You know what
Aw.
I mean. We got enough work to do without you distracting Apple Bloom by making some apple tracks and pretending the Great Seedling did it.
I did no
I
such
never.
What in the tater tarnation would make you say a thing like
On the
that?
tater tarnation.
Well, some pony did it, and she sure seems to be enjoying this quite a lot.
I'm enjoying it because Apple Bloom's enjoying it.
And I suppose you two didn't do it either?
Nope.
Of course not.
I don't think Big Mac had anything to do with
Could
it.
have been Goldie's cats. Why don't you ask them?
No.
Have you considered that maybe it was the Great Seedling after all?
Ha ha, very funny.
I can't figure out where this is actually going.
Sometimes I think she's part mule.
Oh.
Apple Bloom?
Aw. Traps
Here's
everywhere.
my rope. I've got a lot of traps
trust me if I'm gonna catch the Great Seedling.
What's with the shark?
That's what
This
I
episode
wanted
just
to
jumped the
talk
shark.
about. I know you're excited, but we sure could use your help today. Are you sure you want to spend time trying to catch something that might not even be real?
What? But the Great Seedling is real. You saw the tracks. You think those appeared all by themselves?
I don't know who made the tracks, but I don't think it was the Great Seedling.
Why not?
Because the Great Seedling is just something to make the harvest fun for youngins. And you're old enough now to know that there's a time for fun and there's a time for work.
This is a kid being told there is no
Catching
Santa
the
Claus.
Great Seedling is helping. He can make the trees blossom all the time.
All right. How about this? If you help me with the harvest today, I'll help you set traps for the Great Seedling tonight. Deal?
Woohoo! Yes! It's a deal.
Aww. Yeah, that's a reasonable compromise, yeah. Aww.
Kinda looks like those seedling tracks. Huh?
Sure. If there were hundreds of apples in a bunch of different lines.
Well,
Just
if
had a
enough
thought.
apples fell or got knocked down.
Is Big
like
Mac
wind,
tired
maybe,
because he's bucking apples in his
or
sleep
animals.
without realizing it?
I'm just saying there's a lot of possible explanations.
This is true.
And one of them is the Great Seedling.
Yeah, of
and
course.
The rest of them ain't.
That ain't what you thought when you was a foal.
What does that mean?
Oh
Your
boy.
sister was plumb loco about catching the Great Seedling.
Flashback?
When she was your age, same as you are now. Worse even.
Oh.
Is that so? Do tell, Granny.
Yes, please, do tell.
It must have been the last confluency, I reckon.
Confluency.
I was supposed to keep an eye on your sister, but she
Yes.
was slipperier than an apple seed.
Aw.
Applejack, get your flank back here. You're supposed to be sorting in the barn.
Sorry, Granny. I gotta check my traps.
Yes!
Seedling
All
might
those
get away.
freckles! Yeah, all the same kinds of traps.
Now, where'd I put that trap?
Oh, this is pre-cutie mark even. Oh.
Bust my buds. Where's that young'un get to?
Oh, she fell in her
She
own
spent
hole.
the better half of the day stuck in
Aw.
that trap.
And missed out on helping with the harvest because
Yes,
I was
yes!
fixing something for little foals. I felt guilty every pony else had to work harder because of me. So I decided right then and there I was too old to waste any more time on the Great Seedling.
Oh, we finished the harvest just fine, but we laughed about that story for years.
That face.
I'm still laughing.
I'm sorry that happened, Applejack, but it won't if you and me set traps together like you promised.
Interesting
Plus,
thing
we'll
about
get a good
timelines. Talk about that
price
later.
fast and won't miss out on any of the harvest.
Then let's get to work.
Sometimes you just gotta take a little time for family. Aw. Oops. Just turn chase. Oh no! Poor Winona. Oh, she's fine. Aww. Uh-oh. Okay. Big Mac. Yep. You had a big enough hoof to set it off or something. Big Mac is kind of the Spike of this episode.
It sure was fun setting up all those traps together.
I forgot what a good time it could be. If any two ponies can catch the Great Seedling, it's us.
Every one of these faces is amazing.
Now, there's still plenty of harvesting to do. So promise me you'll help, even if all our traps are empty.
I promise.
That's only fair.
So long as you're ready for the bountiful harvest, the Great Seedling's gonna give us one of our traps, Nabum.
Deal.
Woof bump. Wow, that place is really thoroughly trapped out there. What?
Come on, Applejack! If we hurry, we can check every trap and still stay on schedule!
Now, that's what I like to hit.
Whoa!
I don't believe it!
This must have taken all night.
It's Big Mac in his sleep. It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Huh?
I checked all the traps near the tracks. Everyone was sprung, but they're all empty.
Aww.
Every trap sprung? No.
Big Mac's the one that keeps setting off all the traps, so...
I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe the Great Seedling really was here.
So, you're finally ready to admit the Great Seedling might be real?
I can't think of anything else that could have laid out these tracks and sprung all our traps.
And if he left this many tracks behind, he's practically begging us to catch him.
Ah, you ain't never seen anything like
Now they're gonna
this
spend all the
before.
time trying to
Well,
catch him
tell us what
and
you have seen.
won't get
Goldie,
any
you
work
too.
done.
We need to know it all if we're really gonna catch him.
Sure, Goldie and I'll tell you all about the Great Seedling all day while we work.
Oh.
Apple Bloom and I don't have time to work today. We gotta set up traps in every row, even the carrots, just to be sure.
Yesterday you said the Great Seedling was just something to make the harvest fun for youngins.
That was before I thought we could actually catch them. Big Mac can make time in the schedule for us to set traps, right?
Yep.
Get to it. Apple Bloom and I are gonna go
just can't.
capture us.
I can't even. I've never seen these apples so darn happy. Well, except for Big Mac. Applejack's discovered her inner foal again. Uh-huh. Man, he's getting worked to death here. You know, they better treat him like a king once this is all said and done, because he's the only one doing any work. That one's empty. He's done?
All right, just one more hill to
No, he already picked it. Yep, I see
wrong,
what's happening.
go. Is this right?
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't make any sense. How can all these trees be bare if we haven't bucked them yet?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like more work of the Great Seedling to me.
How do you mean?
Well, the closer you get to catching the critter, the more mischievous it gets.
You're saying
Oh,
the
boy.
Great Seedling is taking our apples?
Yes, sounds like he's fixing to throw you off the stand.
Have you ever heard of any pony actually catching them?
Oh, there are stories, but it's hard to say for sure. He's quite the trickster. Guess that's why the reward is
like
so
Loki?
great if you can trap him.
Well, his tricks have given me an idea. Setting traps is one thing.
Big
but I
Mac
reckon
is
if we
not
walk over the
amused.
trees that haven't been bucked, the seedling won't know what hit him.
That's a great idea. Any pony else want to stay up with us?
An old pony like me needs a beauty rest, but you young'uns have a good time.
My kitties can't sleep unless they're curled up on my haunches. But I can't wait to see the Great Seedling with my own eyes once you catch him.
Guess it's just you and me.
Yep, and they're gonna see Big Mac like sleep bucking or something here. Or it could be pleasantly surprised by another twist.
Glad no pony else wants to come out, but I'm glad
Wow.
we're doing this together.
Got a lookout stand and everything.
Me too. It's been a long time since I was on a real seedling hunt, and this is the first time doing it with my little sister.
Aww.
When did you start trying to catch the Great Seedling?
I couldn't have been much more than a foal. I remember our parents tucking Big Mac and me in and telling us all about the Great Seedling. I got so excited I could barely sleep, so I...
Aww.
Don't you worry, Sugar Cube. I won't let him get away.
drool. Oh,
Applejack!
yeah, here we go.
Huh? What is it?
I think a trap went off.
Well, let's go check it out. See anything?
Mm-mm.
Don't scare him off.
Will I be surprised or not?
We gotta lead him into one of the traps.
I'm not worried about scaring him.
Whoa, 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 what? It can't be. It's Big Mac. It has to be. Behind you!
Great Seedling's hunting us!
Apple Bloom, wait!
Aw.
Huh?
Applejack!
And whoa! Oops. And it's gonna get. Yeah.
Big Mac?
It's getting all the
Harvest been
pressure.
asleep this whole time.
Big Mac is the Great Seedling?
Oh no! As every trap, yeah.
You okay, Big Mac?
Nope.
And thanks to all of Big Mac's late night work, we brought in the whole harvest with time to spare.
No wonder you were so tired all the time.
Yep.
I'm glad we solved the mystery, but I really wanted to catch the Great Seedling before I get too old to try.
You know what, Sugar
Aw.
Cute? You're never too old to be a filly. There will always be work to do, but having fun together is something you never grow out of.
Great lesson. What?
Looks like you don't need me no more. Time to get home before Dottie gets in the catnip again. I have stories about that, I'll tell you what.
Oh boy.
We're real glad you came, Gordon.
Yeah. What did you come to help with again?
Come back next year.
That is a bag of holding right there.
Looks like you forgot to clean up the carrots.
What?
Big Mac wasn't harvesting the carrots, just the apples.
Oh boy.
You know what this means?
Time for another
Those faces.
Look out, Great Seedling! Here we come!
Wallpaper. That's gonna be my new wallpaper. A pure Apple Family episode. I am very, very happy. And such a great lesson too. Just, And we got to see Bright Mac and Pear Butter again. All right. I'm not gonna say anything more right now. Stay tuned, guys. I will be back right after this. Okay. So, I am very, very happy that I did not get spoiled for this episode. Just for starters, yes, I realized I kind of flipped out over the appearance of that deer-like creature because I was thinking, oh, are we finally going to do the deerish race that I've heard some fans rave so much about and whatnot? I mean, especially since we just got the Kieran recently as a new race of creatures. Like, oh, are we doing this? But, of course, I completely forgot that we already saw some deer in the show back in the Best Gift Ever holiday special. Granted, those were reindeer and maybe not exactly the same as the deerish that some fans have thought about. I don't know. I haven't really followed that lore, that fanfic stuff that closely. But suffice it to say, I forgot about the deer, so oh well. But, and honestly, it became obvious pretty quickly in this that this creature was not actually real. Rather just a thing of a myth and legend, especially since it became obvious that it was kind of a spoof of the Great Pumpkin mythical character from the Peanuts series. So, you know, it's still a cool creature to see, is really interesting and unique, and I'm pretty sure there's already been plushies made and fan art and whatever. So, anyway, it was fun to see. And obviously, Sugar Belle did not appear in this episode like I first thought in the opening scene. Slightly disappointed by that, but I'm still holding out hope that we're going to see something more happen between her and Big Mac before the season is over. And honestly, even without that, we still managed to get to see another. I had another sighting of the Apple parents, and that was definitely a checkmark worthy moment for me. And on that note, I think this is honestly one of the purest Apple family episodes that we've ever had in the show. No non-family characters, no big family reunion, no running around town or anything of the sort. Just an awesome little slice of life episode out on the farm with close family. It's really no secret that I personally kind of feel like the Apples haven't really gotten enough attention by the writers over the course of this entire show. But I do have to say, some of the episodes that they have given us have been absolutely incredible. Some of the best episodes in the show, most specifically, of course, The Perfect Pair, which for me is, as of yet, unrivaled as pretty much the best episode in the entire series. And for me, this episode, while obviously much lighter in nature, was actually a perfect follow-up to The Perfect Pair, because it played off that episode in so many ways. We saw the return of Goldie Delicious, who was one of the key individuals that was revealing portions of the backstory regarding Bright Mac and Pear Butter to the siblings. And once again, here's Goldie Delicious giving us even more backstory about the Apple family, including a flashback where we got to see Bright Mac and Pear Butter spending time with all three of their kids, all of their family, which is something we have never gotten to see before, because all we saw of them was the point leading up to them getting married. They didn't have kids yet. So that was a really special thing to see. I didn't think we were ever going to see anything like that outside of fan art or whatever. So that was awesome. And honestly, this should firmly put to rest any ideas that the fans had regarding, Apple Bloom being adopted or whatever. Clearly, they were all one happy family there together. So let's just leave it at that. Oh, and furthermore, we got to see Bright Mac give his yoke to Big Mac, which appeared to be a really special moment for the two of them. I mean, given how young he was at the time, that might be one of the very few memories that Big Mac still has of his dad and stuff. One of his few, key memories. So that was just really special to see, I think. Oh, as far as some other tie-ins here, there was one curious line of dialogue between Granny Smith and Goldie Delicious there. Granny was talking and saying, if she had two of them, it would have been a pair of pears. Now, I'm really not quite sure what was meant by that. It seems like it's a punchline to a joke that we never heard, kind of like we were getting a couple times back in Where the Apple Lies. So similar writing style and same writer, actually. But regardless of the lack of context there, it sounded to me like she and Granny Smith and Goldie were reminiscing about something that happened with Pear Butter at some point in the past. And this alone is a little bit feelsy, kind of, because it appears that now that everyone knows about what happened in the past between their parents, they're with the Pears and grandparent and everything, they're now comfortable talking about all the good times they had when Bright Mac and Pear Butter were still around. Now that it's out in the open, it's not like a taboo subject anymore, and they can think back and enjoy it. So that's pretty cool. But here's the real kicker. It was noted that in the story, that Applejack used to love trying to catch the Great Seedling when she was just a foal herself. That was during a time when their parents were still around, as we saw, but it likely wasn't too long after that they lost their parents. Note that Applejack did not have her cutie mark at the time, and if you remember back in the Cutie Mark Chronicles, when Applejack left the farm to live in the city for a while, that was also before she got her cutie mark, and it looks like they were, close to the same age. And when she left, her parents were not there to see her off, only Big Mac and Granny Smith, so it's pretty obvious that they were gone at that point. The loss of their parents was likely, honestly, a major factor in her decision to leave the farm for a bit, because there was likely a lot of painful memories there that she was just struggling to deal with. I mean, I'm sure there was other things too, but I think that was one of the key factors there. And yes, I realize this storyline wasn't even thought about back then, but just this is, me thinking about this in the universe. And along that line of thought, I'm willing to bet that Applejack gave up trying to capture the Great Seedling after they lost their parents. I think that's the point where that dream kind of died for her. You know, a loss like that, it almost certainly left a huge hole in their lives. One that is the kind of thing that tends to suck the fun out of anything and everything. And given that there was still a farm to tend to, it's easy to see that Applejack and Big Mac really kind of had to grow up in a big hurry there. And you know, there was a lot of work to do and a lot of pain to deal with, so there probably just wasn't really that much time or desire for fun back then. So keeping all of that in mind, let's go back and look at the events of this episode again. Apple Bloom was hooked on the legend of the Great Seedling, just like Applejack used to be. And Goldie Delicious saw this and sought to encourage it. At first, I thought she was being rather irresponsible for doing so, but now that I've reflected on this, I kind of get the feeling that she might have just been trying to make sure that Apple Bloom actually got to have some fun as a kid, fun that Applejack and Big Mac may have missed out on due to the loss of their parents. The same here is true for Granny Smith, as she also was supportive of letting Apple Bloom have some fun time, even though in the past, in that flashback that we saw, she was actually getting really peeved with Applejack for doing the exact same thing that Apple Bloom was now doing. I think she too now realizes that fun time with family is important, especially because you never know when those opportunities will cease to exist. For Applejack, the farm work was the most important thing, as it has been for quite a long time for her now, and she was concerned, of course, about Apple Bloom getting too caught up in childhood fantasies and not doing her fair share of the work. Well, of course, this is a valid concern, as Apple Bloom was kind of shirking her responsibilities a little bit. I mean, she's kind of working out a deal, but then kept pushing on it, you know. And of course, Big Mac ended up doing just about all the work himself, so that was a little bit of a downside to that. And of course, there's the fact that Applejack didn't want Apple Bloom to get disappointed when, you know, by finding out that the Great Seedling just really wasn't even a real creature. But all that said, this was an opportunity for some quality family time together, and if Applejack had been firm in not letting Apple Bloom set all those traps and everything, I think she would have later regretted it. You know, remember, I grew up on a small family farm myself, and I remember full well that for a long time, the farm was considered the most important thing. Everything revolved around the farm. And family fun time, while we had it on occasion, it was often secondary to the farm work. And I do understand the difficulty of the position on this. You know, it's a lot of work to do with not much manpower, and there's often very small windows of opportunity to get crops planted and harvested, and you know, everything in between and whatnot. You know, especially given how fickle and unpredictable the weather can be. However, I know for a fact that my parents, in their later years, have looked back and wished that they had taken more time to spend with me and my siblings on certain things. Now, it's not to say that there weren't some good times, because there were a lot of good times, and I remember a lot of those, but there were definitely also some missed opportunities as well. But back to the episode, I think that because of everything that Applejack had to endure with the loss of their parents, she kind of lost touch with her inner child. And you know, as I mentioned earlier, with the responsibility of running the farm falling largely on her and Big Mac, you know, there likely just wasn't a lot of time for fun stuff like that anymore. You know, we also know that even though they're sisters, Applejack has had to be more like a mother to Apple Bloom because of the circumstances, and this was highlighted pretty strongly back in the episode Some Pony to Watch Over Me. Once Apple Bloom got going on this Great Seedling thing, though, Applejack started getting sucked back into it too, and I think she kind of rediscovered a piece of her childhood that she lost all those years ago. And not only that, she just got a chance to really act like the big sister that she is. You know, watching the two of them set all those traps together and, you know, camp out and try to capture the Great Seedling once and for all, as, you know, running away from the crazy, the creature in the forest and whatnot, which turned out to be Big Mac. Just all that stuff, you know, it was just really some special moments between the two of them there. You know, and this, as far as I can tell, this is the first real good sister episode we've even had for these two. You know, Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo had some good moments back in Parental Guidance. Rarity and Sweetie Belle had Forever Philly. And of course, they've had like the like camping trips where all three of the pairs of sisters were camping together and whatnot. But unless I'm forgetting something, AJ and Apple Bloom have never really had a whole episode pretty much to themselves to spend some quality time together like this. And, you know, I get it. This is a filler episode. It wasn't super deep, but just every time I rewatch this, I just cannot get over how happy and excited Apple Bloom is in all of this. Just being able to have her older sister indulge in her fantasy with her on this. But yeah, the lesson in a nutshell is that while work is important, obviously, you also need to make time for fun with family, and you should also not be afraid to embrace your inner child once in a while. You know, I think most everyone who enjoys watching the show can relate to this at some level. You know, one of the most repeated quotes that I've ever seen in this fandom is from C.S. Lewis, who said, "When I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up." Now, this is certainly not an excuse to just act childish and immature all the time, and to not ever take your adult responsibilities seriously. Rather, it simply points out that it is healthy to not completely lock away your inner child, but rather to embrace it and use it to help bring some balance to your life in the midst of the burdens that we bear as adults. You know, as adults, it's far too easy to get weighed down with all the lousy stuff in life that we have to deal with in this world. And sometimes we just lose the simple, we lose sight of the simple pleasures in life. And it's too easy to get so caught up in the crazy busyness of life that we forget to stop and take time for family. You know, like Rarity learned with Sweetie Belle back in Forever Philly, kids grow up fast, and if you don't make an effort to spend time with them now, pretty soon they'll be grown and gone, and your chance to make memories with them will be gone as well. I think this is something Applejack learned with Apple Bloom in this episode. And maybe someday when Apple Bloom is all grown up and dealing with life and getting stressed out over all the hassles and everything that she has to deal with, maybe she can look back on this moment and be reminded that it's okay to have some fun and chase after a childish dream once in a while. Well, that's all I got in this one. Like I said, it's, you know, kind of a filler episode, and I'm willing to bet a lot of people didn't like it that much, or at the very least just thought it was kind of meh. You know, obviously I'm rather biased towards the Apple family, so I probably enjoyed it more than some of you. But as far as filler episodes go, just in general, I really thought this one had a pretty solid message. I mean, sometimes filler episodes can just leave you thinking, why was this even a thing, you know? But this had so many great good character moments, character interactions with the family and stuff, and such a good message for us. For me, it's yet another great installment in what is on track to be one of the best seasons that this show has ever had. And I cannot wait to see what's next. So be sure and join me again next time for what I'm sure is going to be another great episode. Later.